Since I haven't gotten my hair cut in just about a month here, I think that's something I need to change real quick before we get into the video. Alright, much better. Roll the intro.
Caught by Thielen! 50, 40, 30, and he's loose!
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Skull Network, and today's video is going to be a follow-up video to my wildcard picks and my divisional round picks. Today, I'm going to be picking the winners of the two conference championship games this weekend. 2 weeks ago for the wildcard picks, I didn't do too hot, and as you saw last week from the divisional round picks, I didn't do too hot again. And like I said last week, that's why there's more rounds in the playoffs. It's so I can have another chance to try and do well. But knowing me, that's never going to happen. But there's always hope, right?
Wrong.
Let's head into the picks. In this video, we're going to be starting with the AFC Championship game, which is going to be pitting the Jacksonville Jaguars and the New England Patriots. Who expected this matchup at the start of the season? I did not. Nevertheless, I still need to talk about it. And starting with this game, it's going to be... It seems like it would be pretty easy to call. At least it seemed like that in the beginning of the season. But with the way things are now and like how the Jaguars got here, it is way harder to call than it really should be. Obviously, last week the Patriots steamrolled the Titans. No one was really, not expecting that. And then the Jaguars went in to Heinz Field against the Steelers in their own place and put up 45 points. 45 points. You know another mind-boggling stat? Leonard Fournette has more rushing touchdowns at Heinz Field than anybody else this season. You ever heard of Le'Veon Bell? And you can also point out, even though the Jaguars scored 45, they gave up 42. Their defense wasn't looking too hot. And it seemed like Jalen Ramsey and A.J. Boye, they did all right. But when matched up against Antonio Brown, I mean, there's a reason the dude is the best receiver in the league. You just can't cover him. So I feel like Rob Gronkowski can really have a chance to have that same effect on the Jaguars. But I think the X factor in this game, at least for me, the one that is going to influence things the most, is not someone that you guys are thinking of. And you're probably going to roast me for this. Even though the New England Patriots may have one of the best of all time at his position in Tom Brady, and another probably best of all time at his position in Rob Gronkowski, and even though Rex Burkhead is going to be back, making that three-headed monster at running back in full force, there is one man on the Jacksonville Jaguars who could not care less, and he is the kryptonite for the New England Patriots. He stopped them from having a perfect season, and he stopped them from winning another Super Bowl, and that man is the vice president of football operations for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that is Tom Coughlin. Nick, he's not a coach. He doesn't actually really run the team. How can you say he's going to have an impact on this game? Tom Brady's record against Tom Coughlin in the playoffs is 0-2. And what were those two games? The Super Bowl. Big games. This is a big game. This is Tom Coughlin against Tom Brady. And I think that history will continue to repeat itself. And I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to win this game in Foxborough, mainly because of their defense. I don't know if Blake Bortles is still capable of doing anything, but when he doesn't commit a turnover, they're 8-0 this season. What have they not done in the last two games? Committed a turnover. Jacksonville wins. On to the Super Bowl for them. Oh my lord, I need to calm down. I feel like I just had an aneurysm. Alright, let's move on to the NFC Championship game. This matchup pits the Minnesota Vikings up against the Philadelphia Eagles over at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Last weekend, the Philadelphia Eagles were playing in their home stadium as they are this week. They won in a very unexpectedly low-scoring game. They won 15-10 against the Atlanta Falcons and Matt Ryan, who, last video I said, yeah, I got faith in Matt Ryan. Maybe he's going to start, playing well again. And, since it was a Nick pick, it had to be wrong. I feel like I shouldn't even have to explain what happened in the Vikings game. I have an entire other video on that game, and for those of you who don't know, I'm just going to flash a picture up here real quick so you can get an idea of what happened. The amount of things that could affect this game and swing it one way or another, there's a ton of them. They're off the charts. Some of the bigger ones are going to be on either offensive or defensive line for both teams. There's going to be Fletcher Cox, who is rated by PPF as the 5th-ranked interior defensive lineman. He's been a game wrecker all season. He puts up all the big numbers. So the Vikings interior offensive line is going to need to handle him really well. Probably some double teams, and hopefully we can slow him down, which in turn will give Keenum enough time to make a lot better throws than he usually makes when he's under pressure. Then for the Eagles, what's their guy's their left tackle's name, Vaitai. I'm not going to try his first name, but he's going to be on Everson Griffin, and he has been having an okay season, but against an all-pro defensive end like Everson Griffin, that could also be a game changer if we can get to Nick Foles, because under pressure, he doesn't do the hottest either, kind of like Case Keenum. Both secondaries are going to be really big too. Xavier Rhodes and Harrison Smith, Trey Waynes, those guys, I think they're going to have a pretty okay time trying to handle Nelson Aguilar and Alshon Jeffrey. I think the only thing that the Vikings secondary needs to worry about is Zach Ertz. Maybe get Harrison Smith on him most of the time if he's not blitzing. I think Zach Ertz is really the only thing that the Vikings have to worry about. And then for the Eagles secondary, they got to handle, Diggs and Thielen, who, as we can tell from last week, they can make plays. And we've known that for a while. But even in the big time, they can make plays. So I think that the receiver play is going to be really big, and especially how both team secondaries handle them. But obviously the biggest thing that this is going to come down to is the play of either quarterback, whether it be Nick Foles or Case Keenum. I think that is going to be one of the determinants of this game, probably the biggest one. And nobody thought that this was going to be the quarterbacks playing in the NFC Championship at the beginning of the season. I mean, these two were under the tutelage of Jeff Fisher a few years back, and now they're both on their own separate teams. Both quarterbacks ahead of them have went down, and now they have both stepped up, gotten their teams to this point, and it's going to come down to how both of them play. And like I said, the pressure from both defensive lines is going to be getting into one of these two head, maybe even both, but quarterback play is going to be the biggest thing. Even then, I think it's going to be a defensive battle. I expect this game to be extremely low scoring. Even though Philadelphia is at home, they're still 3-point underdogs, which I think that's the first time in NFL history that a 1 seed has been an underdog for both the divisional and championship games. But I definitely think, as I just said, this game's going to be very low scoring, and it's going to come down to very little nitpicky things. So regarding my pick for this game, they have been playing the Super Bowl for about 52 years now. That is over half a century, and there has never once been a host team for the Super Bowl that has gotten to play the Super Bowl in their own stadium. And I think after this Sunday, after all of it is said and done, I think that trend will not be a thing anymore. Obviously, if you guys saw the channel name, any of the videos, any of the artwork on the channel, you should know, hey, I think this guy likes the Vikings, which you would be right. So I have the Vikings winning this game. Big shocker, and that is all I have to say about that. So it is officially set in stone. My matchup for Super Bowl 52 is going to be pitting the Minnesota Vikings at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Probably the two best defenses in the league going at it. That is my pick, and we'll just watch Sunday, and we'll see how this ends up. Having said that, just like my past picks videos, if you guys think my picks are a little weird, if they're a little wacky, and if you have different picks than I do, let me know down in the comments below. If you liked this video and you liked my picks, if you agree with them, then drop a like on this video. And as I always say, if you have not already, go down and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see every single one of you in the next one. 30, and it's low!